Okay guys, so this is core stability stage 2. First exercise is cat camel, similar to stage 1. A great exercise to start with just to get the back nice and loose, just gentle movement. You don't have to go through extreme ranges. Sometimes I like to do this with my eyes closed, just getting prepared for the routine. So you do 5 oscillations. What you'll need for this workout is a resistance band and a looped band. So here is crook lying neutral spine. So crook lying is a position when you're on your back, knees bent, feet flush to the ground. And we're just going to use the resistance of the band. You're going to have it parallel to the ground and anchored above. I'm using it in my squat rack. So you just need somewhere to anchor it. Take a big breath of air in, breath of air out, drop the rib cage, brace the core, get that connectivity. Chin tucked in, neck nice and long, back of the head against the mat, driving your feet into the ground. So this doesn't seem like much, but I'm shaking here. This is a tough exercise. I'm getting enough resistance where I really have to stand my ground with my arms. So I'm using my lats and I'm locking in my core. So you're just working on breathing for around 30 seconds. Breathe into the tension in your abs. Don't lose that connectivity and arch your back or extend the back. Breathe out. Okay, so now we're moving to dead bug, stage 2, knees above hips, hands straight up in the air, palms facing, neck nice and long, brace your core, and we're going to extend opposite arm, opposite leg. No movement in the back, you're really making sure the movement's coming from the hip and the shoulder. As you reach, you're trying to synchronize the thumb and the opposite heel touching the ground while maintaining neutral spine. Your low back shouldn't arch, and your back should be flush with the mat. You're not pressing into it too much in the ground with your low back, that is, and just keep it nice and flush. So now we're going to go to the other side. So my back's nice and leveled. Brace the core, good connectivity. This one's a tricky one. Really gonna force the coordination. And some people, you might mess up with this, and that's okay. Just take your time with it. If you haven't done this before, it might take a few tricks. It might take a few times to get it down. Make sure you get your breathing down. I like to breathe out as I drive the knees and arms in. Alright, now we're going to do hip bridge, stage 2. So get in a good position, breathe in, drop the rib cage, breathe out. Same thing, same routine. Sometimes tap your abs with your hands to get tactile feedback. Squeeze the glutes, lift the hips up. They're going to maintain that position. Elbows are just going to be resting gently against the ground. You're not going to really drive your elbows too much in the ground. Then you're going to extend one leg, hold it for 5, and then extend the other without rotating the pelvis. So you're trying to keep your thighs parallel to each other. And squeeze the glute, extend the leg. So the foot that's on the ground, obviously that glute, that same side is going to be working, driving through the heels. If you find that you end up getting a lot of tension or cramping in the hamstrings, then you're not accessing your glutes too much. You're not accessing glutes, so you have to go back to stage 1, really groove that hip extension. If you haven't used your glutes in a while, it might take time to wake them up. You might have a little bit of gluteal amnesia. So squeeze. There we go. Okay, now I picked up a band. These are circular bands. You're going to place them. There's different tensions, yellow, green, and red. I'm starting with the green one. Placing it around the knee, somewhere comfortable. You don't want it irritating your, if it's bugging your knee, you might have to just adjust it a little bit. So clam shell, you guys are familiar with this. Feel like you're going to lean, like you feel like you're going to fall over. Just going to adjust the band there a little bit. The heels will stay together. The key here is to rotate at the hip, and you can see me grimacing there. This is a tough one for me. Really focusing on using your external rotators, your glute med, and you want to make sure you're not contributing with the back. So if you had a back pocket, that's okay. Moving to our front plank, palms up, drive your elbows in the ground. I like to almost force my wrists out. Obviously, I'm driving into the ground, really gets my shoulder connectivity. I'm pushing myself away from the ground to get my lats connected, and I'm breathing into my abdominals, keeping everything nice and tense. Glutes are squeezed, neck nice and long, nice neutral. Everything is stacked nicely. Now we're going to move on to side plank. This is legs extended version, elbows under shoulders, top leg in front, drive to the hip, nice and neutral there. Good. So I'm really driving and making sure I'm using my lats, getting connectivity with my oblique closest to the ground. Shoulder, if you find that this is new to you, if your shoulders are weak, it might kind of shake, be a little bit shaky and unstable, and that's okay. Okay, now we're going to go bird dog and going to get locked in. You'll see I'll get in a 4-point position, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and I'm pushing myself away from the ground. I get my lats connected, and I'm going to take my right arm and then opposite leg and extend and hold for 5. So the left hand, the hand that's pushing against the ground, I'm very active with that shoulder. I don't let that shoulder drop, and I want to feel it in the armpit area. So good position there. Arms at a 45-degree to get the lower fibers of trap, a muscle that gets neglected. Push away, get that lat connected, and you can see where my toes are, they're curled under. So it's all in the details when you do these moves. You're trying to groove a good pattern. Hold for 5 seconds each position. Make sure you're breathing regularly.